Guys, you've done a lot of cricket interviews, and sometimes you do cricket interviews with people who don't know a lot about cricket. So what are the standard questions that you're asked that you always get asked that are either just a little bit wrong or the ones you're just expecting to get every time?
I feel like if you're watching cricket, someone doesn't understand it, and they ask who's winning, like, if it's like 1-0 in football, and it's quite hard to answer who's winning, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I agree. And then I think we actually just had it just now, superstitions. People love knowing superstitions and about your best sledges. Even though, but then it's not enough of it these days. So
I get best sledges when you do talks after, to a touring group or whatever, and you do all your stuff and you research it and at the end of it, you always throw it out there. And it's like, anybody got any questions? And it's always, got any good sledging?
Yeah.
Like, well, I didn't play.
Yeah.
I mean, they're never repeatable.
Yeah, exactly. It's normally not too pleasant, and it involves a lot of swearing, so you can't really say
it. I was with Jimmy Anderson yesterday, and he went to state school. I went to state school, and we were talking about the difficulty of getting cricket, more in the mainstream. I mean, I don't know about your experiences growing. I don't know about your friendship groups. I mean, are your friendship groups all about cricket? I mean, away from the team itself, that is. I mean, when you're out in Clapham, or when you're out in wherever, I mean, are you surrounded by people who just know cricket or love cricket, or does it just not really come up?
No, I've got a friendship group of girls from back home, and they support me, but they have I still think, at this far into my career, I still don't think I have any idea what's going on there. But they love the day out. But yeah, it's not.
Oh, so they do come and see.
They do come and support. I think they just enjoy the atmosphere. But yeah, they're not. Well, they're into me, lately, but.
Oh, that's good. You get the support. So I've been in cricket for like 20 years, and the only reason I met my wife was because I was out in Australia for the Ashes, and then I met her after, and she was living out there. She's a Kiwi. She didn't even know who Shane Warne was, which is a bit bad, really. But it's almost like when I walk in the house after a day, after Ben Stokes did what he did in 2019, and it's still the most incredible thing I've ever seen in my life on a sporting field. And then it's almost like when I walk in, I open the door, and it's like it just disappears. It's just not even part of.
It's quite nice that way, though. Sometimes.
I think it is a little bit. But, I mean, what about you, Ollie? I mean,
yeah, similar. A few of my mates used to play a little bit, but a lot of them just don't really know it. But again, come and support, and that's kind of the way I like it as well. And then they know that when I'm seeing them, when I'm catching up with them, I don't probably want to talk about cricket with them, which is quite nice. We spend our lives talking cricket, watching cricket.
And it is never ending, right? I heard you ask the question, you're on Virgin Radio, it's like, tell us about your winter. And it was like, you were like, well, that seems like ages ago, because... Yeah. You had Pakistan, and there was West Indies, and they didn't tour West Indies, but England would play there, and then it was New Zealand.
Yeah.
And then it was India, and then it was the Champions Trophy, and then it was the IPL, and then it's Surrey, and then it's...
I could barely remember where we were this winter. When he asked it, I was like, oh, because they just merge, and everything just merges into one.
We had a question on Twitter, actually, about how you find it. And actually, Ollie, you would have had this as well. I remember... I think you played in UAE when Pakistan were playing out there. Maybe you didn't, but, playing out in some countries when there's very few people, and then suddenly you're playing in front of a packed crowd. So say when you're playing in the Metro Bank League, and then suddenly you're playing in the 100, or you're playing in the UAE in front of very few, and then suddenly you're playing in an Ashes Test. I mean, how is that? Is that easy to do, to go from one extreme to the other?
Yeah, it definitely does feel different. I love playing in front of the fans and in front of big atmospheres, I guess, but it's still cricket, and even when I'm playing I care so much about Hampshire that I still care a lot about what's going on. So, but yeah, it is amazing, and especially meeting the fans after the game, when there's loads of them there, it's always nice. But yeah, it does feel different.
Yeah, I think similar to you, I just love playing in front of a packed house. I think we're so lucky in England with Test cricket that one of the places where I'm sure pretty much every day will be a complete sellout this year, and kind of going from a lack of atmosphere every now and again on a cold Monday in the Championship into that, you're like, oh man, this is so good. So I think it doesn't affect how I play, but it's just the kind of appreciation of it a little bit, which is the best bit.
I remember back during COVID when England had to play that summer. in front of nobody. And I was really like, oh, I wonder how this is going to go. And actually, I was really taken by how intense it still was. I mean, it was kind of, once you got past that first cover drive to the boundary to absolute silence, and you kind of got your head around that, in a weird way, it almost became more intense. It was like really bizarre. And then you only have to go past, you know, a common or a village green to see people playing as competitive cricket as you're ever going to see. And they're not playing in front of a crowd, are they? So I suppose it's just natural kind of competitive spirit kicks in.
Yeah, exactly. I think we just talk about at that time as like just try and create the atmosphere yourself. So I guess almost helps the level maybe go up a bit rather than relying on the crowd for the atmosphere. You've got to create a bit of pressure on the batter in the field, for example, your own way.
You're in the draft for the WBBL. Ollie, you played overseas. What is it like? Because, of course, if you're playing for Hampshire or you're playing for Surrey or you're playing for England, you know, you've got these relationships, not just at the time. I mean, you would have played representative cricket with all of your teammates at times. So you have almost like an embedded kind of understanding and relationship that has started before you even walk into that dressing room for the first time. What is it like when you go into a new team? How is that?
It's scary. I've done 1 year at Big Bash already. I played at Thunder and I was so nervous. And I'm a very social person, but I was just so nervous. But it's literally one of the best things you can do because now I made so many friends. And after being there 10 minutes, everyone's so excited, especially if he goes and overseas. I know when we have overseas in the 100, I'm so excited to make them feel welcome and like get to know them. And so, yeah, like you always think it's going to be a lot worse. And then you get there and you're like, actually, everyone's so welcoming and it's always so much fun.
Same for you. I mean, I've heard stories that, you know, there's a kind of feeling about T20. There's kind of, you know, hit and giggle kind of approach to it. But actually the reality of these leagues is if they're spending money on you, they kind of expect that money to be justified, right? So the pressure is on straight away.
Yeah, absolutely. Same. I think last one I did was the Big Bash this year in Adelaide. And it's exactly that. You kind of want to go in, you want to fit in, but more importantly, you want to go get your runs and help win some games for the team. So I think there's the pressures on you, and you know, especially somewhere like Australia, they're gonna judge you on your output, how many wickets you take, how many runs you get. But I think as well as that, I think when you come over as an overseas, I kind of think when all the players we've had at Surrey, we've had some greats of the game. Like, what did I really enjoy about like the ones I got on best with? And it's kind of like, right, okay, they were good at doing this and this and this. So for me, it was about going over and I think I spent the first 2 or 3 days just trying to suss out the changing room, suss out like who your close mates off the pitch are going to be, and then work out how you're going to sort of interact and your role socially as well as playing inside that changing room is.